My next guest, Carrie, says her sister Holly has absolutely no remorse for purposely stabbing her in the back, resulting in a 3-year silence among sisters.
I haven't spoken to my sister Holly in 3 years because I cheated on my husband. She has decided to take his side. I was wrong for cheating, but I feel it was none of my sister's business. After I left my husband, I went on vacation with my current boyfriend and received a phone call from my sister calling me the biggest whore on the face of the earth. I ended up turning my phone off, and when I turned my phone on the next morning, there was 17 voicemails verbally bashing me over and over again. When I left my husband, Holly purposely befriended him to get back at me. She took my husband's side during my custody and divorce trial. My sister wrote an affidavit to the court stating that she did not feel I was a good mother and that my ex-husband would be better off with my kids. My sister also offered to help out my current boyfriend's now ex-wife during his court proceedings to show up and testify on what a terrible person that I was. I was absolutely livid. She does owe me an apology.
Well, Holly could not see this more differently. She insists she has done nothing wrong, and the words "I'm sorry" will never come out of her mouth.
My older sister Carrie is a lying, manipulative person. I'm content not talking to my sister. The affair that she had was the straw that broke the camel's back. Being caught in a handicapped restroom stall with her husband 20 feet away. What she did was wrong. I did side with her husband. After she was caught cheating, she left and did not see her kids for about 3 months. She's a master manipulator, and she can convince anybody she's the victim. I'm not sure why she called Dr. Phil. Her list of embarrassing actions is a mile long, and if she wants me to come on national TV and reveal that laundry list, then I'm more than willing to do that. The words "I'm sorry" will not be coming out of my mouth.
Okay, why did you want to be here, Carrie?
To get a resolution, to, at least to make it feasible to have family gatherings and for everybody to get along. It's been 3 years.
So you want a relationship with your sister?
Absolutely.
And you feel like the betrayal is that she sided with your husband rather than you and your blood?
Yes.
Although you don't expect her to endorse what you did.
I don't endorse what I did. I never have. I know what I did was wrong, but for my whole family to turn against me for leaving my marriage is just like a stab in the back.
Okay, so what's up?
I don't have any reason or any idea why she would want to bring me here for the whole world to, you know, hear about the whole laundry list of things that she did. I understand how she might feel betrayed that I took her ex-husband's side, but what she did, I mean, I've been cheated on. She knew that. I know the signs. I know how it goes. I know how the game is played. So I told her if she wanted to leave her now ex-husband, do it the right way, get your affairs in order, and get things taken care of. Don't just leave them high and dry. And especially, you know, your kids.
But how did you become the moral police in her life? I
did not become the moral police
well,
in her
life. Well, no, you did. You left her messages calling her a whore and a tramp. How did you get in that role?
I called and left those messages because that was the weekend that she flew to Vegas with her boyfriend, and the weekend that my parents had to move out of their very nice high-rise apartment into a house that I know my mother didn't want to move back into. And that was your fault that they had to move.
Little did you know they were moving back anyway, and that's something you don't know.
Well, there's a lot of things that you don't know.
Well, but that's the problem when people don't communicate, is there are things each other don't know. And I'm going to get up on my soapbox and become a moral traffic cop.
Another boiling point for me was Carrie has borrowed, stolen, or conned upwards of $20,000 from my parents and myself and never paid a dime back. I'm very disappointed in my sister.
Well, that was Holly, who says her sister Carrie's affair was just another example in a long history of being manipulative and deceitful. Is that true or not?
She's never been held accountable for anything she's done. She's great at playing the victim.
Yeah, I had to have help from my mom and dad, on occasion
To
and
get your
things
hair
like
done?
that. I never borrowed money to get my hair done.
You're a liar.
I mean, my parents did help me, and my parents have helped her too. She's usually only came around when she needed to borrow money.
I've not borrowed money from Mom in about
and-
5 years, and the last time I did it was $20.
And really, if my parents did help me out, it's none of her business anyway.
You're making it everybody's business.
What's your problem?
My problem is that you left him high and dry, and
I left him, not
Yeah.
my family. When you all show up at court on my divorce hearings and you're sitting next to him and nobody even looks at me, when I go to court for a domestic violence and you're all sitting there
Yeah.
making me out to look like the bad person, hello, I didn't get arrested.
because you know as well as I do, he didn't lay a hand on you. Mom was
Okay, so
upstairs.
yeah, I know Mom was
You didn't-
upstairs and
you
didn't
didn't
even
think-
come down to help me.
Because she didn't hear anything.
Yeah, but the
You
neighbors
really
ended
think-
up
you
calling
really
the cops
think-
because they heard me
Because,
screaming.
and I know how you are. You play the victim. You probably busted out the door and was screaming and, help me, help me.
You hear
I know
this?
how you are.
What do you mean?
The police department has pictures. They wouldn't have arrested him if there weren't any marks or anything on me. That's how it
Whenever the
works.
cops are called, somebody goes to jail.
Yes, the person with marks on them go to jail.
I'm sure you were completely innocent.
You know what? There's
And
no.
you know
there
what?
was-
He told you not to come in the house.
You're gonna need more water.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
She
pretty good.
falls-
I've got
she
you
falls
talking more than you have in
You're
3
gonna-
years.
Yeah, she falsely. It's true. She falsely accused him of domestic violence.
Look, here's the thing. Seriously, let me. I hate to interrupt because you are talking, which is good. But here's the thing. You don't like everything that she does, and you don't like everything that she does. She's sitting over here being very righteous and judgmental, and you're sitting over there like holier than thou. It's hard to be pious given your history, but you're pulling it off. You two clearly are sisters. All I'm saying is, look, I don't want you to lose your sister because she made some really bad decisions. Please, the two of y'all, sit down and talk about this. You don't have to say you're sorry. And you don't have to say you're sorry, but sit down and talk this through. You love your sister, do you not?
Yes.
And you love your sister, do you not?
Absolutely.
You don't like the way she's treated you, the names that she's called you. You don't like the choices she's made and the turmoil she's created for your family, but you love her. Resolve those things or not, but love each other. And you're not as right as you think you are.
Okay.
And you're not as victim as you think you are.
Let's take a moment to unpack what just happened, because this wasn't really a case about a divorce, an affair, or even a custody battle. At its core, this was a story about loyalty, accountability, and the damage that happens when family members stop communicating and start keeping score. From Carrie's perspective, the deepest wound wasn't simply that her marriage ended. It was the feeling that her own sister crossed the line from disagreeing with her decisions to actively participating against her during one of the most difficult periods of her life. On the other hand, Holly made it clear that she believed she wasn't betraying her sister at all. She believed she was standing up for what she thought was right. And that's where this conflict became so complicated. Both women see themselves as the injured party, and both have spent the last 3 years building a case against the other. One thing Dr. Phil pointed out that shouldn't be overlooked is that neither side walked onto this stage with completely clean hands. Carrie admitted she made serious mistakes during her marriage. while Holly admitted she inserted herself deeply into situations that many people would argue should have remained between husband and wife. The result? A family divided, years of resentment, and two sisters who spent more time proving they were right than trying to repair what was broken. What makes this case especially interesting is that there was no dramatic courtroom ruling, no winner and no loser. Instead, the final message was about perspective. Families survive disagreements all the time, but relationships rarely survive when pride becomes more important than connection. Sometimes accountability is necessary, sometimes boundaries are necessary, but when every conversation becomes a trial and every family member becomes a witness, reconciliation becomes almost impossible. Now we want to hear your thoughts. Did Holly go too far by siding with her sister's ex husband and getting involved in the legal battles? Or was she simply standing up for what she believed was morally right? And if you were in Carrie's position, could you forgive that kind of family betrayal? If this family conflict had you shaking your head from start to finish, don't forget to leave your opinion in the comments below. Give this video a like. If you enjoy real life relationship breakdowns, share it with friends who love family drama discussions, and subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable cases, tough conversations, and eye opening stories you won't want to miss. At the end of this confrontation, what stands out is that neither sister is completely innocent, and that is exactly what makes this family conflict so complicated. Carrie openly admitted that cheating on her husband was wrong, but she felt Holly crossed a line by taking her ex husband's side, becoming involved in the divorce and custody conflict, and cutting her off for 3 years. Holly, meanwhile, clearly believed she was standing up for what she thought was right, but her own actions, including the angry voicemails, harsh insults, and willingness to expose Carrie's behavior, also helped turn a painful family dispute into a much deeper feud. The discussion about money, the alleged domestic violence incident, and accusations of manipulation only added more fuel to an already damaged relationship. The most important point from Dr. Phil was that this was not really about deciding which sister won. There was no courtroom verdict here, and no legal ruling resolving every accusation. Instead, the goal was to make both women recognize that being convinced you are right does not automatically make your behavior helpful. Dr. Phil challenged Holly's judgmental attitude while also refusing to excuse Carrie's decisions, telling both sisters that they were not as completely right or completely victimized as they believed. And that may be the biggest lesson from this entire confrontation. Family conflicts can become so focused on blame that people forget what they are actually trying to save. Carrie wanted a resolution so the family could eventually gather together again, while both sisters still admitted that they loved each other. The challenge was whether they could separate accountability from revenge and finally have a conversation without turning every past mistake into another weapon. So, whose position do you understand more? Carrie's belief that her sister betrayed her, or Holly's belief that Carrie's actions justified taking a stand? And do you think 3 years of silence was protecting the family or destroying it? If this family confrontation gave you something to think about, leave your take in the comments. Pass this video along to someone who enjoys intense real-life confrontations, and subscribe to the channel for more dramatic courtroom and conflict breakdowns.